Alright, what we have here is our standing wave experimental apparatus. Basically what we have here is a string vibrator, and what it's going to do is it's going to vibrate at a certain rate. We'll tell you what that rate is in hertz or cycles per second. We've got a string spanning a certain length on this beam. We'll end up giving you the length of that string as we go through this experiment. I run it through an eye bolt over here, and it's hanging over the edge. Normally you would see this done on a Pasco track, and what I've done is I've got a 200-gram weight hanging off the end of it. That generates tension within this experimental setup. Within this string here, the tension is determined by what weight I hang off of it. The heavier weight that I hang, the more tension that there's going to be, and we'll end up switching that up in a little bit. We've got a sine wave generator right here. You may notice that it's set to 1 hertz. I've actually got 2 things hooked up to it, right? I've got my string vibrator. Look, if you take a look at it, it's oscillating up and down 1 time every second. I've got a speaker that's also attached, just to show you a little bit more visual example of this. This is oscillating up and down 1 time per second because they're both hooked up to this right now. Now, what we're going to do is we're not actually going to use the speaker. The speaker is just a good visual to see how the oscillation works. If I just switch this to maybe something higher, about 10 hertz, take a look at the speaker now. It's oscillating up and down 10 times per second. Take a look at my string vibrator. This is oscillating up and down at the same rate, 10 times per second. Now what this is doing is it's sending waves from this end of the string back to this end of the string. And what we saw in the Waves app is that they reflect back off here. So you have a bunch of waves reflecting back and forth, right and left, and what we're going to do is end up interacting them with each other. And then we're going to look for certain patterns on this. Now I've already found one. And if nothing's changed, right now I set it to 20.4 hertz. If you take a look here, you can see a nice little pattern developing here in which we have waves interacting with each other. And what we're going to do is basically count the loops. Right now I can see clearly 3 loops. If you take a look, there's actually 1 point on the string. It's not really moving at all. Those are called our nodes. And we'll be using those in our measurements here. And what we're going to do is we're going to find different patterns here. If I up the frequency, let me up it to about 40.8. If you take a look at the speaker, 40.8 times up and down each second. We're at 40.8 here. Take a look at the pattern. Now all of a sudden you should be able to count 6 loops in our pattern. Again, you should see certain points that are just pretty much essentially still here. So we're going to be looking for what patterns happen at what frequencies with certain string lengths and certain weights hung off the end of it. So we'll be running through the experiment, and then you'll be able to gather data numbers to put into your labs that we give you.